Hello everyone, and welcome to the all-new, and I truly mean all-new, 2026 Cadillac Escalade IQL. I've been driving this enormous vehicle over the course of the week, and not only is it enormous, but it is also luxurious as well. We have this incredibly large, massive display across the entire dashboard here, another display here, we have two more in the back, digital rear view mirror, and there's even a center lower display that you can use to communicate with as well. And let's head off and let's talk about what this vehicle is like to drive and live with on a daily basis. Gorgeous, elegant materials in here, and even though it may not be leather, it all feels actually quite nice, and honestly I would even be fooled. Off the bat, here you have turn signal cameras. I've seen this in a few other new General Motors products these days, such as the newer Escalade and GMC Yukon, but you'll notice just how easy already off the bat this gigantic vehicle is to drive on a daily basis. The rear wheel steering, air suspension, your really high ride position as well, all really make for a generally rather unusually easy driving experience. Even though this vehicle is incredibly long, again, going around corners, you may think there's a lot of body roll, and there is, but the rear wheel steering really helps to intervene and makes turns a lot more simple and easy than you may think. And everything in here is also incredibly really quiet. Traffic just passes by with like a whisper's notice. I even just passed some landscaping, and with all of those lawnmowers and leaf blowers, it is so dull and muted in this cabin. You do genuinely feel quite isolated, and that's part and thanks to the active noise cancellation, though also all of the laminated glass and sound insulation in the actual body of this vehicle. It is an Escalade at the end of the day. It's a true luxury SUV, and this whole electric experience, I think, has actually made it even quieter than one may have had in a regular gas Escalade. Definitely a little bit different than the Escalade V. And I do have to say, these turn signal cameras make the world difference, especially when using your right turn signal, as while it is not the worst thing to see out of, the view from the right is a little bit more difficult just because the vehicle is so wide in the width section of this area here. So cruising around town, like I mentioned, really quiet and comfortable. On most paved surfaces, this is going to ride really well. We have the smaller, and it's crazy to say that this is the smaller wheel, but the 22 inches are the smaller wheel option here. You can go up to 24 inches. I think I'm going to recommend, if you want the best comfort, I would go for these, because even in this configuration, our tire pressures, I think, are like over 60 psi. But this one does give you a little bit more of a thicker sidewall, so that's going to overall help improve your ride quality. I've been on vehicles in this identical platform from other General Motors brands, such as the Denali Yukon EV with the massive wheels, and I did notice a little bit of a downturn in ride quality, largely due to those wheels. But this, combined with the adaptive air suspensions, is definitely more soft and subtle, though I do notice a little bit of some bumps and undulations in the road pavement, just as because this vehicle is so heavy. And while we're waiting for this school bus right here, I'll take a moment to show you guys one of the coolest features I have ever seen is this fridge over here that opens on two sides, is a pass-through, and I actually have a protein shake in here, and it's keeping itself nice and cool thanks to this fridge. One of the coolest inventions I think I have seen. So that's really awesome to see in this Escalade. A little bit of a different storage solution than having your fridge in your center console. It actually frees up more space. Cool invention there, Cadillac. Steering is really light, but has a nice weight to it actually. And it's really great for just driving around town. Again, that rear wheel steering definitely helps quite a lot. And there's actually an additional rear wheel steering mode, and they're not calling it crab walk in this car, but you do have it, and it's really meant actually to help this vehicle get in and out of parking spaces better, and it works. You have to be completely stopped to use it. You activate this mode, and it kind of sort of can crab walk in a sense out of a parking space, go right back to normal, and you can be on your way, which is a really cool option actually. And you may also notice there's a little V mode button right here on the steering wheel, and that unlocks the full power, north of 700 horsepower. But in normal day-to-day driving conditions, you're going to be in the around mid to 600 horsepower range, just so you're not flooring it all the time. And thankfully, we also have this really great drive selector here to control our screen, but we have a lot of great drive modes in this vehicle as well. So we have everything from Tour, Sport, Snow, Ice, as well as a My Mode setting is where you can actually adjust your steering, suspension, acceleration, and motor sound, which is pretty cool. So we have one pedal driving adjustment, and we have Cadillac's absolutely fantastic regen on demand paddle. And this one works properly how like a brake pedal does, essentially, not just like a paddle where it's on and off. We have a quick little just test of full power really unlocks a lot of this vehicle, though because of its size and weight, that power, while it does seem quick, is a little bit scary sometimes. You know, this is a big vehicle, and when you're really on it, it almost feels like the front end is truly lifting up off the ground just a little bit, at least the body, and kind of a little bit wobbly. And I've noticed this in other vehicles that share this platform. It's just due to their size and weight and the crazy amount of power that they are actually receiving there. So that's an interesting kind of, you know, trait, I would say, of these kind of cars. They have that power to get up to speed. You never, and truly never, will feel slow in this vehicle, but it is not a performance vehicle. It is a day-to-day luxury EV family hauler that is incredibly comfortable, and I wouldn't say it likes to be driven in any sort of aggressive performance fashion whatsoever, but I think that's totally fine. It is absolutely not what the purpose of this vehicle is. Now, it looks like we're going to get hit some pretty intense traffic, so this is a great time to talk about the new Super Cruise on this vehicle. Now, we've also just tested the 2026 Hummer EV SUV, which shares an architecture with this, and this is also getting this new Super Cruise with navigation. So, but using the built-in Google navigation system, you can actually navigate on Super Cruise, and we'll kind of try to demonstrate that as well on this drive. But we also have a new feature with Super Cruise, so I'm just going to activate it now so I can talk about it. On the left-hand side of our steering wheel, we're going to turn on our adaptive cruise system. We're going to set our speed, and then I'm just going to, oh, it's already on actually. So you can actually turn on and off Super Cruise with the little Super Cruise steering wheel button there. Easily adjust your speed. You can do intervals of 5 or just intervals of 1 as well to kind of change your speed right there. The new feature here is that in areas that don't have full hands-free Super Cruise like we have right now you actually get steering assist, lane keep assist without the hands-free. So it's basically a hands-on, very advanced radar adaptive cruise control, which many other manufacturers actually have had for quite some time. This is actually new to the Super Cruise systems, but I'm glad they did this because that was one of my complaints actually. Even in the last Escalade we had, which was the pre-facelifted gas model, I always wish that this was available, because if you weren't using Super Cruise hands-free, the adaptive cruise system kind of sucked actually. It was just radar adaptive and just the pogo stick lane keep assist. It really wasn't that premium of an experience, but this completely fixes all of those issues, and it works really well. And you'll see that with a new icon actually with lanes and a steering wheel in the center of it, which is really cool. Now, what I mean by navigate on Super Cruise is that if you look at our Google Maps system over here, we'll look at our route options. They all have a little steering wheel icon next to it, and that will actually tell you how long you can actually use Super Cruise on this journey. So it estimates on this journey right now, we can use Super Cruise for 34 minutes out of our 42-minute drive. That's pretty cool. So it's accounting for all of those roads, like just regular side roads, that Super Cruise is probably not going to be mapped for. So that's really cool that they even tell you that now, and that's been there for a while. But the newer feature is that once you start getting closer to your exit with the auto lane change on, it's going to actually just move you over to that lane, and if the exit on like a major highway like this one is long enough, it will actually go into that lane and just keep going till it literally cannot go anymore, and then it'll start saying either take control or use manual lane change. So it'll just take manual lane change to continue following route. I think that's really cool. It's just another elevated step in the Super Cruise process. We just did an auto lane change there that I initiated it. But of course, if you've seen our other videos, you know, these cars will auto lane change if you want. You can actually turn that off throughout traffic for you, which is pretty nice. I know there's some traffic coming up ahead, so I'm just going to preemptively slow down. You can change your gap adjustment right there. And this is a great time where, you know, if you want to open up your cool box here, you can do that and just take out something in there to have a quick drink. Obviously, it's tracking your eyes all the time. You can make quick adjustments in the infotainment system, but it is a much more calming, relaxing experience on this highway. And this is where I think this car is a true monster. This battery pack is huge. This is the full 24 module battery pack. I think it's north of 200 kilowatt hours, which is truly insane. But at 100% on this vehicle, I saw, I think, 502 miles, if I remember correctly. It was well north of 500 miles. And I was truly stunned because we are now at 77% of the battery pack and we still have 403 miles of range left. That is nuts. And the even more impressive thing with this vehicle is that pricing wise, it's really not that much more expensive, at least as this one is configured, than a regular gas Escalade ESV, for example, which I think is a really incredible thing that General Motors has been able to do, because they're not really pricing out their existing customers from this vehicle. It's only like an extra 10-15 grand if you want this EV particular variant, and however long these incentives stay around, that could also be taken advantage of as well. So, you know, this is honestly a really enticing option for those that want a fully electric Escalade, and there are benefits. It's quiet, it's really comfortable and luxurious. And this one, you know, we have cooled and heated seats, heated steering wheel, there's cool box up here, but you can get even more stuff out of this car. This is just a sport. You can get a premium sport and premium luxury with massage, night vision, a crazy, I think it's a $10,000 option rear center console in the second row seats that get tray tables and massaging and heating and cooling and 14-way adjustment. You can go even more extreme with these new Escalade IQs. So really impressive stuff here. It's really been a great week with this car so far. My only big gripes, I would say, is that this giant panoramic glass roof has no options for, you know, an electrochromatic option, so that would mean you can kind of make it opaque. I know that's available on the new Cadillac Celestiq, which is very expensive, but I would like to see that drawn down to some other Cadillac models at some point, especially on this vehicle. And there's no shade either as well. I'd love to see how this handles in hotter summer weather. I think that could be a little bit frustrating sometimes. Other than that, there's also no Apple CarPlay as well. All of the new General Motors EVs are no longer doing Apple CarPlay. I don't like that. I still don't like it. You know, I've made use of using this system. I've used it so much now, I've gotten a little bit used to it. It is easy to use, especially with the scroll wheel here, and I like how things have been separated to this lower screen over here. And there's actually an insane amount of stuff in this lower screen. It's not just a useless little climate screen. It's a lot of information in here, but I still would like to have the option of Apple CarPlay or even Android Auto in that own aspect there. I think luxury means options, and not having it is a little bit disappointing still. So I'm going to keep pressing jam on that. They're never going to change, probably. They're not going to listen just to me, but it would be a nice thing to have still. Otherwise, this infotainment system is generally easy to use. You can download apps from the Google Maps, Google Play Store. You can use all of your other functions pretty easily. I just think the media viewer, if you're someone that uses things like Apple Music, is just a little bit depressing in that aspect. It's not much of configurability there, and it kind of makes you need to like change something on your phone because you can't do too much on there. It doesn't always work well with that system, but that's just my own experience using these systems without Apple CarPlay. We have the passenger screen over there that only activates when someone is sitting in this seat. Another small little gripe there is the glove box is a touch button. I wish there was just a physical button for that. A little bit frustrating. Sometimes it might glitch and I've seen this button disappear randomly, but it is now permanently there, which is nice. Two wireless chargers, which is crazy. They're both ventilated, which is really nice as well. But overall, you know, like I have to say, all the touch points in here are soft, cushy, and very comfortable. I have a lot of adjustment in the seating position here. This really cool kind of light gray headliner really helps to open up the cabin. The wood is really nice. There's really nothing bad to really say about the interior of this vehicle, only that it's not the fully loaded one, and you can get some really cool other additional options in this Escalade IQL. But again, the whole point of this vehicle really is extending the rear end out versus the Escalade IQ, getting more rear trunk space behind the third row, and overall third row just kind of freeing up a little more room. And it really is colossal back there. They have really impressive stuff. You can power fold down the third row seats. You have power down for the second row, but I think you have to manually put it back up. It really creates a huge cavernous space back there to just shove stuff in. And you know, the really impressive part is with this vehicle is that you can have a full set of passengers in this vehicle, fill up that rear trunk, and then you still have the insanely huge front trunk, which is really gorgeously lined with this carpet in this particular car, and then fill that up with like full-size suitcase. It is probably one of the most practical vehicles on the road right now, aside from the Lucid Gravity, which is way smaller than this vehicle and somehow can almost fit nearly as much stuff as the regular Escalade IQ can. But these EVs are really showing what's possible now with packaging in a vehicle, and all of this empty space is now being freed up that wasn't really available before. So there is a lot of benefits, honestly, to getting this over a regular gas Escalade. If you really don't need to have that engine, this is a great vehicle. You're gonna get the same, and literally the same interior experience, and even a more comfortable, luxurious ride. I'm sure you guys can see how quiet it is out here on the highway. Really impressive stuff here. So I'm gonna continue off on traffic here, and as always, guys, thank you for joining me on our full tour and review of the all-new Cadillac Escalade IQL over on Allcarnews, and make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more coming soon. Cheers.